Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gaur Premanande. Jai Vishupad Paramahamsa. Privraj Gacharya Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace. Sharabai Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Skandi Biti, Founder Charya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Harinama Sankirtan Ki, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Jainitai Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada.
Yes, the Prabhupada.
Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Taksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Dita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Sri Vishakanditam Sya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil. And loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swastyaya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Prabhu Nityananda,
Sri Advaita
Shri
Gadadhara,
Advaita Gadadhar,
Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda,
Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Shudhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Shudhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Shudhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vasaram pangom langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bandhe Sri Gurum Dinatalanam yatkripa tamaham bandhe Sri Gurum Dinatalanam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class. Canto number 1, chapter 7. Good. Text number 8. 8, huh? Yes. Let's do the 7. Text number 8. Samhitam Bhagavatim
Bhagavatim
Kritva Nukramya
Kitvanukramya
Chatma
Chatma
Jam
Jam
Shukam
Shukam
Adhyapayam
Yapayam
Asa
Asa
Nivritti
Nivriti
Niratam
Niratam
Munihi Samhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Kritva Nukramya Chatmajam
Kitvanukramya Chatmajam
Shukam Adhyapayam Asa
Shukamadhapayam Asha
Nivritti Niratam Munihi
Nivriti Nirata Munihi
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Kritva Nukramya Chatmajam
Kitvanukramya Chatmajam
Shukam Adhyapayam Asa
Shukam Adhyapayam Asha
Nivritti Niratam Munihi
Nivriti Niratam Munihi
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Kritva Nukramya Chatmajam
Kitvanukramya Chatmajam
Shukam Adhyapayam Asa
Shukam Adhyapayam Asha
Nivritti Niratam Munihi
Nivriti Niratam Munihi
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim Kritva Nukramya Chatmajam
Samadhyapayamasa
Shukam Adhyapayam Asa
Nivritti Niratam Munihi
Nivritti Niratam Munihi
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Kitvanukramya Chatmajam
Kritva Nukramya Chatmajam
Shukam Adhyapayam Asa
Shukam Adhyapayam Asa
Nivriti Niratam Munihi
Nivritti Niratam Munihi
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
Sasamhitam Bhagavatim
कृत्वानुक्रम्य चात्मजम्
कृत्वानुक्रम्य चत्मजम्
सुखम् अध्यापयम् आस
शुक्कम् अध्यापयम् आस
निवृत्तिनिरतं मुनि
निवृत्तिनिरतं मुनिः सः that
that
samhitam
संहितं
Vedic literature
Vedic literature
Bhagavatim
भागवतीं
in relation with the personality of Godhead
in relation with the personality of Godhead
Kritva
Kritva
having done
having done
Anukramya
Anukramya
by correction and repetition
by correction and repetition.
cha
cha
and
and
Atmajam
Atmajam,
his own son
his own son,
Shukam
Shukam,
Shukadeva Goswami
Sukadeva Goswami,
Adhyapayam
Adhyapayam,
Adhyapayam Asa
Adhyapayam Asa,
taught
taught,
Nivritti
Nivritti,
path of self-realization
path of self-realization.
Niratam
Niratam,
engaged
engaged,
Munihi
Munihi,
the sage
the sage.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
I think in the spiritual world no glasses no earphones I mean no earring aid yeah Mm. uh, Translation anyways something the great sage Vyasadeva after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it taught it to his own son Sri Shukadeva Goswami who was already engaged in self-realization. Kindly repeat after me. The great sage Vyasadeva,
The
The
great
great
sage
sage
Vyasadeva,
Vyasadeva,
after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam
after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam
and revising it,
and
and
revising
revising
it,
taught it to his own son,
taught
taught it
his
to his own son,
Sri Shukadeva Goswami,
Sri
Sri
Shukadeva
Sukadeva
Goswami,
Goswami,
who was already engaged
who
who is
was
already
already
engaged
engaged
in self-realization.
in
in
self-realization.
self-realization.
Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentation on the Brahma Sutras compiled by the same author. This Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra is meant for those who are already engaged in self-realization. Srimad Bhagavatam is so made that one becomes at once engaged in the path of self-realization simply by hearing the topics. Although it is especially meant for the Paramahamsas, or those who are totally engaged in self-realization, it works into the depths of the hearts of those who may be worldly men. Worldly men are all engaged in sense gratification. But even such men will find in this Vedic literature a remedial measure for their material diseases. Shukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul from the very beginning of his birth, and his father taught him Srimad Bhagavatam. Amongst mundane scholars, there is some diversity of opinion as to the date of compilation of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is, however, certain from the text of the Bhagavatam that it was compiled before the disappearance of King Parikshit and after the departure of Lord Krishna. When Maharaj Parikshit was ruling the world as the king of Bharatvarsha, he chastised the personality of Godhead. According to revealed scriptures and astrological calculation, the age of Kali is in its 5,000th year. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled not less than 5,000 years ago. Mahabharata was compiled before Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Puranas were compiled before Mahabharata. That is an estimation of the date of compilation of the different Vedic literatures. The synopsis of Srimad Bhagavatam was given before the detailed description under instruction of Narada. Srimad Bhagavatam is the science for following the path of Nivritti Marga. The path of Pravritti Marga was condemned by Narada. That path is the natural inclination for all conditioned souls. The theme of Srimad Bhagavatam is the cure of the materialistic disease of the human being, or stopping completely the pangs of material existence. Translation again. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, taught it to his own son, Sri Shukadeva Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. So the importance of the Srimad Bhagavatam is being referred to here. And when the Bhagavatam was also written, Prabhupada, because there are many differences of opinion actually regarding the Vedic literatures when they were written. Prabhupada clarifies, and this is our understanding in Guru Parampara, that as explained in the Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva, while meditating on the banks of the Saraswati River in the Himalayas, because he is what is called Trikalagya. What is meaning of Trikalagya? Three. Kala, yeah. He can see, can understand past, present, and future. And therefore, he could understand that very soon Kali Yuga will begin, and therefore people in this Kali Yuga will be having so many disqualifications, and therefore will not be able to easily understand or remember the subject matter of transcendence, and therefore along with many other taking assistance from other sages, other scholars. They're described as scholars. Their names are given also. He put into writing Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, all of the Vedic literatures. So our understanding, the understanding in our Guru Parampara was that this was all compiled some approximately 5,000 years ago, as mentioned in the purport, after the disappearance of Krishna and before the disappearance of Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah. Another point mention in the purport that the Srimad Bhagavatam is naturally attractive and of interest for people who are practicing spiritual life. And it is also effective for those who are not practicing spiritual life, those who may be materialistic minded, which is actually the majority of people, but they can also benefit from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Even those who are actually Shukadeva Goswami, we come to know from Bhagavatam, he was already, this is very rare, but it happens, even before taking birth, he was self-realized. Within the womb of his mother, he was self-realized. Means he understood he's not his body. But he was hesitating to take birth. He remained, how many years? 16 years within the womb of his mother, which is very unusual. Usually one stayed in the womb 9 months or 10 months. I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was 12 months or something. Very, very long time, everyone was worried. But Shukadeva Goswami, 16 years. So it's described that actually he did not want to take birth because of fear of becoming affected by Maya. But his father, Srila Vyasadeva, began narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam, and then when he heard the narration of Srimad Bhagavatam, then he, after some time, okay, I will take birth. He came out of the womb of his mother. That means that even persons who are, what we call, he was actually impersonalist, believing in God, but when he heard the description of his father regarding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that means that impersonalists can also be attracted to the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's also explained here how the culmination actually of all the Vedic literatures is what is known as Vedanta Sutra, Veda Anta. The end of knowledge is Vedanta Sutra. And what is the first verse, first instruction of the Vedanta Sutra? Very important. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. It is actually the first mantra. The first mantra of the Brahma Sutra, of the Vedanta Sutra, also known as Brahma Sutra, which means that now that we have acquired this human form of life, we should be inquisitive. We should be desiring to understand what is the goal of life, what is the purpose of life. And Prabhupada explains how actually the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it is compiled by the same author, right? Srila Vyasadeva compiled all the Vedic literatures, ending with the Vedanta Sutra, and that's when we read this earlier. He was not feeling fully satisfied. Then Narada Muni came, and Narada Muni analyzed that you have written all of these literatures, but not sufficiently describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So then he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, which means that actually the Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is, yeah, known as Grantaraj. Granta. Granta means scripture. Granta is different from book. What is the name for book in Sanskrit? Huh? Pusta. Pustaka. Pustakam. Pustakam, yes. So Granta. Granta especially is in reference to subjects of transcendence, spiritual subject matters. So therefore, not only actually spiritual subject matters, because the Vedas, as we know, are containing not only spiritual subject matters, but also so much information about the material cosmic manifestation, material world. And Srila Vyasadeva has different sections, just like the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam is describing the cosmos, cosmology. Cosmology is a very big subject matter, and that is why here in Mayapur, this TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium, will be having on display very not so easy to understand how this whole cosmic manifestation. So that is Shastra, Granta. Granta are, we can say, authorized literatures. Before Hare Krishna, it means we don't need that anymore. Yeah, you leave it? It's okay. No, because this is there now. But if you want for... So before 200 years, before a few hundred years ago, actually, mostly there were such type of books. People would write books in relation to God, in relation to transcendence. But because in the last few hundred years, especially, Kali Yuga is making some very nice progress, becoming more degraded. That is symptom of Kali Yuga. Things become more complicated, more degraded, more materialistic. So therefore, most of the books that are available, they are they are in the category of what is called Gramya Kotha. What is Gramya Kotha? Kotha means speaking or subject matter. Gramya, village, means it is not in relation with Krishna, not in relation with transcendence. Of course, in the Vedic culture, even material, just like cosmology, the science of the universe, that is all in relation with demigods and ultimately Krishna. We learn in the Bhagavatam that is one of the 10 subject matters. Bhagavatam is presenting 10 main subjects. One of them is the the different manus. Manus means just like yesterday one guest came by the name of Prajapati. So what is meaning Prajapati? Praja and Pati. Pati means father. Praja means uh, children. Yes. So Prajapati means actually those who are in ancient times, the Prajapatis, in the beginning of the creation, like Daksha is Prajapati. Uh, they were given the responsibility to procreate and to populate the entire universe. So Prajapati uh, has, so the Manus, different Manus, uh, that's uh, one of the 10 subject matters in the Bhagavatam. And Prajapati is like, they are like Kshatriyas actually, because they are responsible, Hare Krishna, they are responsible for the praja, based on, of course, they rule based on the principles of dharma. And the principles of dharma are especially the culmination or the topmost level of dharma is especially presented and explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is why we uh, study the Bhagavatam, hear the Bhagavatam, even we may not fully understand what we are hearing, still we are getting benefit. Of course, if we are more attentive in our hearing, then there will be more benefit. So this is how we are receiving the Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Vyasadeva, who, as we have read, was instructed. It's interesting, it mentions here how he wrote and corrected. When you write something, then Prabhupada also, when writing his books, he was writing, and we see actually the original manuscripts. Prabhupada sometimes would correct like that. So there's a whole science is there actually in writing. There's a science for everything. There's a science for everything. Most of those sciences are forgotten in Kali Yuga, and many of them are no longer available because so many of the Vedic literatures we learned from Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his first of 6 sandarbhas, what is the first of the 6 sandarbhas? It's called Tattva Sandarbha. Tattva. Tattva means the absolute truth. And that absolute truth is especially found in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, in the Tattva Sandarbha, the first of these sandarbhas, written by Srila Jiva Goswami, he actually establishes that knowledge, all knowledge mm, that we need, mm, not only all knowledge, but actually the topmost knowledge uh, is to be found in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not only that, but he actually establishes or explains that for us in Kali Yuga, it is more important to study the Srimad Bhagavatam than to study the Vedas. He actually, by giving different references, of course, we know that the Vedas are the basis of all knowledge. This is a little bit subtle point. One has to uh, be attentive in understanding. The Vedas are the source of all knowledge. But at present, especially in this Kali Yuga, uh, practically no one is qualified to even read the original Vedas. No one is qualified to understand because it is written in a very high level Sanskrit. Sanskrit, most of us, how many know Sanskrit? Most people don't know Sanskrit, isn't it? And Sanskrit has different levels, like beginner level, then very high level. Uh, um, so the original Vedas are written in that very high level Sanskrit, which nowadays people don't even know ordinary Sanskrit. So that's one reason. There are different reasons why Srila Jiva Goswami establishes and explains that for us it is more important to study the Srimad Bhagavatam because the Sanskrit is more easy to understand, number one. And secondly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is information, confidential information, which we cannot find in the Vedas. Also because those original Vedas, actually they're all detailed in this Tattva Sandarbha. There are different names that are there, which explain different subject matters. But Srila Jiva Goswami explains that actually something like 90% of those writings that Srila Vyasadeva, right, 5,000 years ago, Srila Vyasadeva, he put all this in writing, but 90% of what he put in writing is gone today, not available, because Kali Yuga, you know, so many things have happened, so many books have disappeared. Some India has been invaded for thousands of years, and many important books of knowledge were actually destroyed, isn't it? The whole big history is there. But fortunately, the essential and basic books, the most important books, like Bhagavad Gita, like Srimad Bhagavatam, that's why our Vaishnavacharyas especially focus on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And the special feature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was that he had the Goswamis of Vrindavan spend years and years to actually deeply study all of the Vedic literatures available 500 years ago. And because they knew Sanskrit, they were scholars. The Goswamis were very learned, very intelligent, and pure devotees. So they were able, that was the request of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were able to extract, to take out what is the most important based on so many different shastra. And of course, the subject matter that is most important is the science of bhakti. The science of bhakti, the science of devotion. And bhakti means relationship between two. Prabhupada explains, cannot speak about love unless there are two, the lover and the beloved. So that means that God must be a person, and we, who are jivas, we have a natural, eternal relationship with that supreme personality of Godhead. We read that in the purport just yesterday, how all the jivas, Prabhupada was giving the example of um, yeah, of male and female. Like in a marriage, the husband is a male and the wife is a female. But on a larger scale, uh, Krishna, he is the Purusha. Purusha means male. And all of us, we are Prakriti. Prakriti. So that means that we are meant to establish our loving relationship with Krishna. And until and unless we know about this, until we establish or develop this relationship with Krishna, then we cannot be fully happy. We cannot be satisfied. And this relationship, this understanding what is this relationship with Krishna, uh, understanding what is this science of bhakti, is especially more easily developed, is more easily understood when we interact with the Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear, especially from the description given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And yeah, so in this way, the Srimad Bhagavatam, very interesting. We know the term Raj. Raj means king, Grantaraj. But in the Tattva Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami, he speaks or he refers to the Srimad Bhagavatam not as Raj. I forget the Sanskrit name, but he refers to the Bhagavatam not as king, but as emperor. There's a difference. What's the difference between a king and an emperor? Just like usually in a country, like here in India before, there used to be many kings. In other countries also, so many kings, right? Whatever territory you have, you're king. You have your kingdom, isn't it? But emperor means the king of all, the king of kings, the Maharaja. I don't know the Sanskrit exact term, but so like Yudhishthira Maharaj, when after the battle of Kurukshetra, he was established not just as king, but as emperor of the whole world. Chakravarti, huh? Yeah, possibly. Huh? Yes, I think so. Chakravarti. So not only we need to create rajas, but we need to create one Chakravarti. But first we begin by creating some raja, because when there are many qualified rajas, then one will be chosen, one will automatically become the Chakravarti. Many people have this name, Chakravarti, but they're not Chakravarti. Just like we had our Sundarananda, what is it? Chaturvedi. Chaturvedi. Many people have the name, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, but they don't even know one Vedi, one Veda. The name is there. Or like in South India, especially like near Hibri, in Hibri, there are many people who have the name Prabhu. Yeah, you see, Prabhu store, Prabhu electronics, whatever. Like, or some people have the name Das. They're not really Das. Or they have the name Pandit, but most people who have the name Pandit are not actually Pandit. But before, every name had meaning. You would have that name because you have the qualifications. So actually, the last emperor was Parikshit Maharaj, because after the battle of Kurukshetra, when Yudhishthira Maharaj came to know that, after 30 years of ruling as the emperor, Yudhishthira Maharaj, then he had sent Arjuna to Dwarka to find out what was happening, to get some news. And then that's what he had sent Arjuna. Then Arjuna took a long time to come back. When Arjuna came back, there were so many bad omens, bad signs, and Yudhishthira Maharaj could understand, something happened. So he began to question Arjuna, how are the devotees in Dwarka, how like that. And then after some time, Arjuna had to reveal or inform Yudhishthira Maharaj that Krishna has finished his pastimes. So immediately upon receiving this news, then Yudhishthira Maharaj, he took one danda, not sannyas danda, another danda. And there's a picture in the Bhagavatam with beard and danda walking in the northern direction, going through the Himalayas. And then all the Pandavas followed, and Draupadi followed, like that. And before going, then that's when he installed Parikshit Maharaj. He installed Parikshit Maharaj as the emperor of the world. And then he ruled for some time. So he was like the last emperor. So this was our verse this morning. The great sage Vyasadeva, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, taught it to his own son, Sri Shukadeva Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. So, in the same way that Srila Vyasadeva, he instructed his son, Srila Shukadeva Goswami, on the science of the Bhagavatam. So, we all have that duty, responsibility to study and to also encourage other people to learn about the Srimad Bhagavatam. Any questions or comments?
Who is Kurusheshta?
Huh?
Kurusheshta. Who is Kurusheshta?
Who is Kurusheshta? He's your godbrother.
I asked him before, who is Kurusheshta? I asked him.
Yes.
He said, who is what?
Kurusheshta. It's a name. Kurusheshta.
Yes, Kutam.
In Kutam, yeah. One devotee, Brahmachari, his name Kurusheshta. Shesta means best of, no? Whenever we look at names, in Sanskrit, names are usually made of a combination of different names, and they may have different meanings also. Kuru dynasty, and Shesta refers to like what is best of the Kurus. So who's the best of the Kurus? Huh? Arjun. There are many who are best actually. Yes.
So you mentioned the emperor function of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes. The Bhagavatam is, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, not only king of knowledge but emperor of knowledge.
Can you give example of how to use that quality of Bhagavatam, when and which situations we have to use it as proper tool to understand the absolute truth?
Mm.
Which situations in the field of Shastra?
Yes. Well, there are so many books of knowledge, so many shastras are there, containing very valuable information. So they can be compared to king, right? Just like in a country or in the world, there are many kings. Okay, nowadays there are no kings, but previously there used to be many kings. Nowadays we call people like presidents or
The best of the
ruler. Yeah, right.
of the area.
So, so within Shastra, within Vedic literatures, there are many powerful and important books of knowledge. Brahma Samhita, for example, was uncovered by Lord Chaitanya when visiting South India. Mahabharata is there, Ramayana is there. And among all of those different books of knowledge that are considered most valuable, there is one that stands out more important than all the others because of the nature of the knowledge that it is presenting, and that is the Srimad Bhagavatam. Just like we hear, there's reference to Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta Sutra was the culmination of the writings of Srila Vyasadeva, isn't it? After writing all the different Vedas and Upanishads and Mahabharata, then the last writing was the Vedanta Sutra. So already there's so many different, we could say, Grantaraj, but Srila Vyasadeva not being satisfied, so that's when Narada Muni instructed him, you have to write a book that will especially focus and explain the glories of Krishna, the glories of bhakti, the glories of devotional service. And that book is the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that book is the king of kings. It is the emperor of all books.
I'm asking that I've heard that many books have different opinions in some situations, some tattvas.
Many
They
books
say
have different.
like that.
Okay.
They say like that. The absolute truth is like is everyone's heart,
Yes.
or they say that King Indra is the Bhagavan because he is the ruler of all the demigods, and like different shastra will say different and understanding. But if they have different disagreements, in some area, then we have to get to the Srimad Bhagavatam and see which opinions the Bhagavatam is supporting and which is not. And then we reconcile these disagreements between the Shastras, and we accept only that as the ultimate instruction because they are all instruction. They instruct us how to behave, what to do to get perfection.
Yes.
Parikshit asked what I should do,
Yes.
and the different scientists in that they gave different instruction for him according to my understanding, my shastra,
Right.
I would say that, but the other told no. According to this shastra, you should do like that, meditate, and absolute like that. So, but then Shukadeva Goswami came and established the parallel of all the shastra. No. Whatever in the Srimad Bhagavatam will explain, that is the ultimate and
Yes.
absolute instruction
Yes.
for everyone.
Yes. The summum bonum, summum highest level of.
Otherwise, we would just deviate. Oh, maybe I like this.
Right.
Maybe I like this, but it's not good for us.
Yes. Therefore, this is our, we could say, the word brand. Some companies have a brand. Our parampara brand is Srimad Bhagavatam. Because without the Bhagavatam, we cannot understand the absolute truth in its fullness. Some people are like, Vedanti tat tattvavidam tattvam yas jnanam bhadvayam brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavan iti sabjate. So some people understand the Bhagavan feature, some people understand the Paramatma feature, but very few people understand the Bhagavan feature. So the Bhagavan feature, this is all very, very nicely, very scientifically, and in such a very simple way also presented in the Tattva Sandarbhas of Srila Jiva Goswami.
I read that Sridhar Swami gave that Sanskrit title, Hema Simha Samambita, means the shining lion in all
Yes.
animals, because lion is not the biggest animal,
Right.
but if the lion is present, the elephants are just
Yep.
have to be quiet.
They go some other place.
So, and you who go to the jungle, you see many animals have pretty power,
Yes.
but only the lion could be considered that he's the king or
He is the king.
for
Absolutely.
animals. So
Correct.
that's the Bhagavatam. If the Bhagavatam says something, everyone
Yes.
has to accept. Otherwise,
Yes. Correct. Yes.
that's why we need to establish our faith in the Bhagavatam. And I see Prabhupada helps us. It's not really, how to say, it's not really as a Vedic proof what Prabhupada gives here, who wrote the Bhagavatam. It's just very, very much light, means it's academic type of proving the Bhagavatam is really authoritative scripture. But we are coming from this background. We have to consider which one was written before and after, because we need that kind of explanation. The Bhagavatam is the ultimate
Yes.
and absolute understanding of
Yes.
this Vedic
Yes.
knowledge.
There's that nice example that Srila Prabhupada was giving regarding, I'm sure you've heard this, he was quoting his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who had said that actually if all the books in the world were to burn and except Bhagavad Gita remain, there would be no loss. All the books can go as long as we have Bhagavad Gita. Then he said, if all the books, including the Bhagavad Gita, were to burn, but the Bhagavatam remains, then also there would be no loss, because all the instructions of Bhagavad Gita are in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then what else? And then Prabhupada said, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained, if all the books in the world burnt, including the Bhagavad Gita, including the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I don't have a copy here, but if the Chaitanya Charitamrita remained, there would be no loss. Because there's so many verses, the essential verses of the Bhagavad Gita, the essential verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam are in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So if the Srimad Bhagavatam is the emperor, Prabhupada explained how it's like, Bhagavad Gita is ABC, this is graduate level, and then postgraduate is actually Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah.
I heard that when I was young, Suhatra Maharaj came to Hungary and he gave a beautiful but very deep, practically not understood classes about Samasti and Vyasti and Chaturvyuha, so many things. Anyway, so I met with him. I was attracted to him, but I saw that he's on the level that my understanding, my intelligence is not. But later he came to Mayapur.
Yes.
And he was living in his last years here in Mayapur.
Yes.
And here he gave classes about comparing the Vedanta Sutra and Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's available that how nicely he's explaining all these things, that he studied the Vedanta Sutra and he studied different Vedas. And he showed that how the Vedanta Sutra is explaining that the different instructions from the different Vedas are discussed in the Vedanta Sutra, and which is discussed in the Vedanta Sutra is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam in different places.
Right.
They are just here and here and here and here, and he could find it, and he could show that in this conversation, that is the topic is which is reflecting to the Vedanta Sutra, this instruction, which is this debate coming down.
So that means that the whole essence of the Vedanta Sutra is in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah, he proved that by this long series of discussion, different philosophies, Vedic or non-Vedic. He's all explaining. Everything is there in the Vedanta.
I remember one time coming to Mayapur when Srihotra Maharaj was giving a Bhagavatam class. Yeah, and he was. I had never heard this example. He was like very well read. He was a scholar. One of a number of scholars that were part of ISKCON society. He wrote important books, and actually he helped to mold the Gurukul here in Mayapur in many ways. So he was giving this class, and I just happened to come, and then he started to give this quoting from, I forget which Shastra, to explain how rare it is to get a human form of life, and even more rare it is once upon receiving or getting a human form of life to come in contact with bhakti, with devotional service, or to come in contact with the Bhagavatam. So the example you might have heard it before. This is from Shastra. I was telling that in this particular Shastra, the following example is given, that just imagine on the ocean. The ocean is so vast, so deep, so big. So some piece of wood is floating on the ocean. Some flat wood is floating. And in the middle of that wood, there's a hole. And in the ocean, somewhere, one turtle is swimming. And turtles actually have to come up for air at different times. So what are the chances of one turtle coming up from the ocean and putting his head in that hole?
In this hole, little hole.
Right? It's like practically impossible. So that is how rare it is to get human form of life, and how rare it is to get in contact with devotees, with Srimad Bhagavatam. So that means that,
human body has a very special quality. We can use it for different function, but it is the one function. Can discuss absolute truth peacefully, hot weather, don't mind. Everyone just smiling because we are discussing not what to eat,
right?
what to build, how to get profit, how to fight. And
Yes, yes,
absolute truth, which is nothing to do with this daily life,
right.
practically,
Yeah, yeah.
or everything, but
It's another world.
yeah. So peacefully sitting here, swearing like anything, and still they're happy.
Right, right.
It's not austerity.
Correct.
That's human body's function.
Yes. And that's what the Goswamis of Vrindavan were doing for hours and hours and hours every day. Yeah. They would, because, they that's all they did. They were Goswamis, totally in control of their senses, and they were just absorbed. So it's described how in the afternoon, because all of them were scholars, all of them were doing their research, reading so many literatures, and so they would come together. And can just imagine, right? They must have had like fantastic, undescribable type of kata, quoting from this shastra. Oh, today I read this, and today I could understand about this, and like that.
And I understood that. Yesterday I read one sentence about this kata.
Mm.
So yes, in highly scholars person can really remember of the Vedas, and they can put examples from here, from there, and they can explain wonderful things in details, or big like a bird eye.
Mm.
But we who have not such a intelligence, still we can get the benefit from having this discussion, because then our little intelligence becomes a little bit stronger,
Yes.
and that little bit stronger intelligence can give the root of the faith or the ultimate instructions.
Yes.
So we need faith. Yes, Supreme Person is Krishna and we have to serve Him.
Right.
But how that faith could root it into our heart by this practice,
Yes.
because we make it prepare for this instruction, worship Krishna, and that's only possible when we have these discussions. Otherwise, our intelligence will not enough strong to keep the consequences that okay, we have to worship Krishna
Yes. Yes.
properly.
Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Vidyantasto Yabhadrani Vidunoti Saritsatam. So many nice verses, especially from the Bhagavatam, that are describing. Yeah. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur